My Dear Friend, a Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction. This is part 2 of the Telltale Heart series, a 4-part series that explores all 4 sides of the love square. Part 1 was called A Stolen Moment. If you missed it, find a link in the description box below. Marinette, girl, you need to take real notes, Alia hissed. Marinette glanced down at her tablet, where she had absent-mindedly written Adrien's name and surrounded it with a cloud of hearts. She blushed and hastily erased it. I am taking notes, she whispered back indignantly, curling an arm around her tablet to shield it from view. Once Alia's eagle-like eyes were off her, Marinette resumed staring at Adrien's back, heaving a sigh. His head was nodding drowsily, and Marinette tapped the back of his bench with the toe of her shoe to get his attention. He turned slightly to shoot her an embarrassed but grateful smile. Marinette, Adrien, eyes and ears up front, please. Miss Bustier interrupted her lecture to call out the 2 students, who immediately straightened and returned to note-taking with a fervor. As the lecture about ancient Greek political structure went on, though, Marinette's mind wandered and her eyes settled on Adrien's hunched back again. He was usually energetic in school. She could tell he hadn't slept well and seemed to be down. Had the macarons been too much? They had been from her dad's latest test batch of raspberry and chocolate-flavored ladybug macarons, which he was perfecting for Heroes Day in 2 weeks. Maybe Adrien didn't want to be reminded of Ladybug. She should have just brought regular macarons. And just like gravity, her thoughts were back on last night. He had said he loved her. Ladybug. Marinette watched Adrien lean to the side to get a better writing angle as he scribbled notes in his tablet. He was in love with Ladybug. He had kissed her. Marinette's heart fluttered as she remembered being held close by Adrien after their kiss, feeling his breath tickling her ear, his warmth, and his heart beating fast through his shirt. She sighed deeply, needing oxygen to quell the tingling in her chest. She had never seen him like that before, so tender and sincere. What she felt for him had been perfectly mirrored in him, the way he looked at her, the way his hand trembled when he held her. And yet he seemed to understand that any kind of relationship between them was impossible. He had looked so sad when she left. It had been one of the most difficult feats in Marinette's life to willingly walk away from Adrien and leave him alone in his room last night, but she had no choice. And it wasn't impossible for them to be together. Here she was, and there he was. Yet he didn't know who she was, and she couldn't just tell him. Why did he have to fall for Ladybug of all people? Frustration threatened to tear Marinette's heart in two. I'm Ladybug, Marinette reminded herself of the facts. Adrien Agreste is in love with me. He just doesn't know it. Marinette thought about the love poem Adrien had written more than a year ago, and it all made sense. I wonder who you are beneath that strong disguise. Of course. Tiki had interpreted that line metaphorically, but he had meant it literally. How long had Marinette pined after him, making attempt after attempt to confess her love to him, even coming up with schemes to get them together? And the whole time, he had been in love with her masked alter ego. Marinette couldn't deny that she was strongly tempted to visit him again as Ladybug, now that she knew how he felt. But that just felt wrong. She couldn't take advantage of him. How could they get married and have 3 beautiful kids without revealing her identity? And what would he think of her pretending to be oblivious in class while having a secret relationship with him once he found out? There was simply no way it could work out and end well. So she was not going to give in to that temptation. She would not make this even messier than it already was. But that was the worst part of it all. It meant she would have to break his heart. Watching Adrien sigh for the 5th time that morning, Marinette's insides melted with compassion for him. She didn't want to hurt him, but she had no choice, and last night had given her a glimpse of how lonely his life was. She wondered if he'd told Nino how he felt about Ladybug. Whenever Marinette was going through angst about Adrien, she had Alia. No, even a whole circle of friends to help her through it. Did Adrien have that? Maybe not. Probably not. So at that moment, she resolved to be the best friend Adrien could ever wish for. And if he had meant what he said, if he really could love the girl under the mask, then maybe, just maybe, he could fall for her as a civilian once he got over Ladybug. Not that Marinette was planning on it or anything, but a girl could hope. Hey, Adrien, do you want to eat me with lunch? Adrien whipped around too fast, and Marinette knew something was wrong. Red-faced, she shook her head violently and waved her arms, trying to erase what she had just said. Why didn't she have this problem as Ladybug? No! I meant, do you want to eat lunch with me? Adrien burst out laughing and slung an arm around Marinette's shoulder. Her blush deepened, and she covered her face with both hands. You're funny, Marinette. Sure. Marinette peeked from behind her hands at Adrien's smiling face. For the first time that day, she didn't see any traces of sadness. Her heart swelled. They walked to the cafeteria together, and Adrien didn't drop his arm until they had to grab their trays. The school was deserted, except for the courtyard, where Marinette could hear rhythmic footsteps and the high-pitched clang of sabers colliding. Sitting on the top step of the metal staircase, just barely out of sight, Marinette finished off her math homework and locked her tablet, tucking it into her backpack. She checked her phone clock. 10 more minutes still. She hadn't slept that well last night either, and all her homework was already done. It wouldn't hurt to just close her eyes until the class was over. Marinette! What? Marinette's eyes snapped open and she jumped to her feet, disoriented, forgetting where she was. Steady hands caught her, preventing a disastrous tumble. What are you doing here? Don't sleep on the stairs, it's dangerous! It was Adrien. He was a step below her, duffel bag slung over one shoulder, already changed back into normal clothing. There were only a few remaining students dispersing to the locker rooms. Marinette reoriented herself, and Adrien let go of her arms. Thanks for saving me. I finished all my homework here. It was easier to concentrate than in my room, being tempted by video games. Are you going home now? Adrien was giving her that bemused smile that she'd seen whenever she did something weird or embarrassing in front of him. But it wasn't a negative look. Marinette gave him her biggest grin, feeling awkward. Yeah, I'm going home. My driver's outside. Want to walk together? It was a short walk, but well worth the wait. The last Sunday before Heroes' Day, Marinette and Alia were holed up in Marinette's room. After the macaron tasting debacle of last year, Marinette had decided to plan better and was making cute cloth diapers to donate to a homeless shelter. Fabrics in all kinds of cute colors and patterns were strewn over the floor as Marinette picked which inner and outer linings to match. Alia was there for moral support. By the way, don't think I haven't noticed what you're doing. Alia, who had been explaining her theory that an obscure Renaissance-era activist she had read about was Miraculous holder, caught Marinette's attention by abruptly changing the topic. Huh? What am I doing? I think it's working. Alia nudged Marinette, giving her a look. What's working? Don't play dumb. I'm talking about your new technique with Adrien. I didn't think you had it in you. You've been bold, girl. Marinette's face reddened. No, it's not like that. I mean, it's not a technique or anything. I'm just trying to be a good friend. Sure, a friend. Yeah, just a normal friend. Alia eyed Marinette suspiciously. You expect me to believe you just want to be friends with Adrien Agreste? Of course, Marinette squeaked. I mean, I still love him and all, just step by step. Who are you, and what have you done with Marinette dupain-cheng? Alia, stop it! Marinette threw her Lady Wi-Fi doll at her friend. Ouch, low blow. The two erupted in giggles. 2 days later, Marinette was sitting on her balcony lounge chair, enjoying the spring weather and attempting to get through her literature readings. It was mid-afternoon, and an Akuma fight had just ended, leaving her with the pleasantly achy heaviness in her muscles that made it a struggle not to fall asleep. And that's when she received a text. That in itself was not a strange occurrence, but this was a text from Adrien. They had each other's numbers from the times Adrien had to join hangout sessions via video call, but they never texted, or called one-on-one for that matter. Marinette sat upright, heart rate spiking. "Hey, Marinette," it read simply. She waited a few seconds so she wouldn't seem too eager, then replied, "Hi." Adrien's answer came immediately. "Do you mind if I video call you?" Marinette's heart threatened to jump out of her throat. She took a deep breath to calm herself. He wanted to video call her? Right now? Okay, a few more deep breaths. She checked her hair and makeup in her phone's reflection. Presentable enough. Right now? Sure. As soon as Marinette sent the message, her phone started buzzing. She squeaked, almost falling off the lounge chair in surprise. Okay, deep breaths, Marinette. For Adrien! For friendship! She accepted the call, and Adrien's real live face popped up on the screen. Her nervousness flooded away and was replaced by concern when she saw that he looked downcast. Adrien? What's wrong? Hey, Marinette. Nothing. I'm just being stupid. No, you can't be stupid. This made Adrien smile and shake his head, but he still looked sad. I'm sorry if this is a weird question, but how do you get over someone? Marinette felt like she had a mini heart attack at his words. She hoped she wasn't making a face as crazy as she was feeling. He was talking about Ladybug, wasn't he? What should she say? Did she even know how to get over someone? She was a hopeless case herself. But this was good. This was supposed to be her job right now. Helping Adrien get over Ladybug. Marinette wished she could call a lucky charm to help her come up with the perfect words of wisdom. Her voice came out calmer than she expected, surprising even herself. I'm not exactly the best person to give this kind of advice, but it takes time. And it's easier when you're not alone. I mean, it helps to have friends around. Or a friend, at least. Adrien's eyes brightened a little. I guess I made the right decision in calling you then, he said softly. Are you okay? Did something happen? No, there's this girl, but I can't be with her, and something reminded me of her today. Anyway, like I said, I'm just being stupid. Don't say that. How you feel is not stupid. Hey, Marinette? Yes? I'm stuck in the house, as usual. Father wants me to practice for 3 hours. But if you're doing homework or something, do you want to, do it here maybe? While I play? I know that doesn't sound fun, but... He was inviting her to his house? That was a first. Of course! It does sound fun. I'd love to come. I can send my driver. He's pretty cool, actually. No, it's okay. I live nearby and it's nice out. I'll just walk. Adrien's face lit up with a huge grin. Awesome! See you soon! Adrien's excitement broke Marinette's heart. He looked like he'd just been handed the world on a silver platter. Was it that great to have a friend over? Marinette smiled dreamily at Adrien's beaming face on her phone screen. He looked so cute. She couldn't resist. She took a screenshot. The fake camera click sounded loudly, and Marinette internally winced, hoping he hadn't noticed. His smile was replaced by a look of confusion. Huh? Did you just take a picture? Nope, see you soon, bye! Marinette hung up and started gathering her things, her face burning. She ran her embarrassment off and arrived at the Agreste mansion panting. Marinette sat curled up on the couch, back against the armrest, tablet propped up on her lap. She had read the same sentence 3 times, distracted by the complex piano melody that Adrien was working on. She had never heard him play before, aside from the jam session on Juleka's boat, and even though she was no expert in music, she was amazed by the beauty of his playing. She couldn't be more content than to be here, sitting in his room, listening to him play. Being in his room again brought back memories of that night. At least as Marinette, she didn't have to hide in the bathroom. And she was here with Natalie's knowledge. This was healthy, right? The past week had been a roller coaster of emotions for Marinette. She felt like a moth flying close to a flame. She had been shy around Adrien before because the way he affected her was just so intense. Every action and word from him felt like a blow to her heart, whether he meant it or not. When she was around him, she felt shaky, jumpy. She felt like laughing, crying, screaming. But she was determined to be there for him, so she had forced herself to keep coming near him, even when she felt like she couldn't handle it. And it seemed like he was letting her in, little by little. He had even mentioned Ladybug today, which surprised Marinette. She snuck a glance at him, his hands flying skillfully over the black and white keys. She felt unworthy of him, but she realized that somehow he needed her. Sure, he had Nino, but Nino was a straightforward kind of guy. Not that Nino was lacking, but Marinette had begun to understand that Adrien needed a different kind of support too. Ever since the night she visited as Ladybug, Marinette had seen a part of Adrien that she had been too blinded by his glory to notice before. A deep well of hurt built up inside him, hidden from the world, even from his friends. Like a splinter deeply embedded in him, it was something that could only be brought out and dissolved with gentle coaxing and care. And she wanted to provide that for him. So no matter how ridiculous or unworthy Marinette felt sometimes, she willed herself not to be so vain and to focus on him instead. He happened to look up and catch her watching him, and his face instantly softened into a gentle smile. Marinette's face melted and she smiled back, then gave him a thumbs up. He winked and turned back to the score, continuing to play without missing a beat. 3 hours was a long time. Marinette phased in and out of consciousness, somehow managing to get through the literature reading before soundly dozing off. She was awakened by the sound of the piano bench scraping across the hardwood floor, and she realized it was quiet. She sat up, rubbing her eyes. Adrien plopped down on the other end of the couch, facing her, arm propped on one knee. He was smiling. The melancholy seemed to be gone. "Thanks for coming, Marinette. I hope my playing wasn't too boring. Seems to have put you to sleep." Marinette shook her head emphatically. "No, you were amazing. Sorry, I was tired." Adrien laughed. "Just teasing." "It was nice hearing you play. If you want, we can do this again anytime. I mean, not to invite myself or anything." Adrien grinned and poked Marinette's shin with his foot. "You're welcome anytime." Finished with his responsibilities for the day and thus freed from house arrest, Adrien walked Marinette back to her place. "You know, Marinette, you're really fun to hang out with," he said, slinging an arm on Marinette's shoulder as was becoming a normal gesture between them. Marinette blushed. Thanks. You're fun too." Adrien cracked up and ruffled Marinette's bangs. "Hey, I think it worked." "What worked?" "I wasn't thinking about her." Marinette looked at him. He was gazing ahead with a peaceful expression on his face. She gave his waist a shy little squeeze. "What are friends for?" "Hey, Marinette." "Yeah?" "I'm supposed to play at the Agrest Foundation Gala on Heroes Day. Father said I could invite one friend. You wanna come?" "Sure." One friend. Out of all the people in the world, Adrien picked her? Marinette was incredulous. Even after they said their goodbyes, she couldn't stop smiling for the rest of the night. Thank you for listening to My Dear Friend. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, or leave a thumbs up to show your support. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next part. Until next time!